Welcome to Oddball History, dipshits.
Boom, 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 boom.
I'm just looking for some tush. I went with a different ZZ Top line this
That's
week.
better. I like it more. We're committing to it now, forever and always.
True story, had no idea what they were saying. For the first, I was probably 27 years old when I first realized that they were saying tush.
Yeah, he's just looking for some tush.
I thought he was saying touch, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't look into it.
Same sentiment, but creepier. Mm-hmm. It has this desperation to it. I'm looking for some tush. He's a rock and roll guy. He's out there getting some tail.
Yeah.
I'm just looking for some touch is a much sadder. Mm-hmm. Please.
And I clearly didn't hear any of the other lyrics because it's about a whorehouse.
Yeah.
It's they're not playing it close to the vest, you know? It's about a famous whorehouse in LaGrange. That's why the song's called LaGrange.
So today on Oddball History, we are covering the true story behind Rudy Ruettiger. Rudy. Turns out he was an asshole.
A little bit of a dick. Yeah, it was. Of course, there's the famous movie. Yes. One of the most inspirational movies of all time. It is a great movie. We can't look. There's nothing you can say against the movie. It's fantastic. It's really good. I didn't realize. It didn't do that well at the box office. Researching this, it was the number 69 ranked movie and gross in that year.
Yeah.
And it made less than, it wasn't even the most popular college football movie. It was beat out by our old friend, The Program.
Ooh, great film though.
Which shout out The Program. No, I was like, I like that actually.
Yeah, it deservedly won.
Yeah, shout out to The Program.
I can see that of Rudy having more staying power as an uplifting story versus The Program.
Yeah, I mean, The Program, you get Jimmy Caan working with prime Craig Sheffer and young, what was his name? The dude who played Willie Mays Hayes. You know who I'm talking about. Nope. He was in The Wood. Omar Epps.
Oh, okay.
Omar Epps. You get those three in a room, nobody's beating it. Then you
Magic happens.
Latimer smashing car windows out with his head.
A winner. But before we get into it, let's do the top comments of the week. We got one non-comment is just Velvet Spectre, Lindsay.
Shout out, friend of the show.
Friend of the show, friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod, yeah.
She is always commenting and just seems super nice. And she has a company called Waxahachie's, which is
the name.
Hilarious. Great name, Waxahachie's. And she bounces around Oak Cliff in the area and where I work. Because I'm at the fire station, Illinois and Vernon, kind of that area in Oak Cliff. So if there's a brick and mortar, I'll be there soon.
She's going to get some cheese.
And then we had at Farm Welding on Instagram, another guy.
Friend of the pod.
Nick. And he commented on the post for episode 55, The Great Imposter, about episode 54. Now, this man's a listener, and he was disappointed we didn't make a specific clip.
That's right. And the funny thing is I totally meant to and then forgot.
Yeah, and so he commented, I waited an entire 2 weeks for a clip about Abraham Lincoln inventing the ring donut by wanting to fornicate with a donut to comment that after that the White House chef then developed the cream-filled donut as a result.
That's right. And then
Farm Welding, solid cum joke. We apologize. Yeah. We didn't set you up for it right. Okay.
But I like to think we made it right. I whipped up that clip. Yeah. And the joke was made. All is right with the world.
All is right. There we go. And then we had
appreciate you.
Again, I love when people talk like people. You always forget, listen to some media where a guy commented on the God's Math clip.
Yeah.
About being love or something gay. Mm-hmm. And he just said, to be fair, the answer to all questions is probably love, ... or some shit like that.
That's true. I would get that tattooed, honestly.
Yeah, that's going to be podcast
beautiful.
Tattoos.
That's really beautiful.
So those are the comments of the week.
Yeah, shout out.
So there we go. Shout out everybody. Oh, that was Daxter Chan on YouTube. I don't know if I said his name, but there we go. So to the topic of the day, Rudy.
Big Rudy or small Rudy?
Small Rudy, little fella. But it was a great movie. And what all the people, when you research into the real Rudy, they're they got the bulk of it true.
Yeah.
The timeline is accurate. He did.
Mostly.
where like he did struggle in school but loved sports, had a huge family. Navy power plant, guy dies, and he's super dyslexic, so he has to go to Holy Cross and then gets into Notre Dame and gets on their scout team.
Yeah, he was undiagnosed, and then he was diagnosed at Holy Cross, and then that's how he improved his grades enough to get into Notre Dame. But like, yeah, little things like he was the that make for a better story, you know. Like he was the oldest boy of 14. He had 2 older sisters, but he was the oldest, not the youngest, like in the movie.
Which, holy shit, that is a Catholic ass family.
Oh yeah, his mom was putting up wilt numbers. As so many Catholic women in the Midwest were in those days. They had 14 children in 17 years.
Whew. My math is bad. I was going to say Irish twins were their boy.
It's like one after the other Irish twins, pretty much.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because there's not enough lag time in there. In 3 years of lag time with 14 kids, I think.
Here's how stupid I am. I don't know how to even start trying to say that for 14. Like triplets, quadruplets, singtuplets, sextuplets, sextuplets, octuplets.
No.
Then I'm just going to halfway speak Spanish, like non-uplets, decuplets, once-uplets, doce-uplets. I don't know.
Catorce-uplets.
Catorce-uplets.
Thank you.
Fucking lot of kids.
Spanish language.
Yeah. You're close to Latin.
Yeah. You have, yeah, good God. You have a full baseball team and a 5-man pitching staff in your family. Assuming all of them can play, you know, you don't want any losers in the bunch.
God, no.
Ruining your family baseball
team. And the
Ruetigers
would not put up with that.
No, they wouldn't.
The entire family was actually assholes.
They're tough. They're a tough bunch. All the brothers. I remember this. I played baseball in college with a guy from Chicago, and he actually told me all the Ruettiger brothers are high school wrestling coaches around Chicago. So you would run into them.
Which, if you were doing like a sitcom and you wanted like a gruff meathead dude that, you know, supports Trump, loves this country, didn't serve, but is a patriot, he'd be a high school wrestling coach outside of Chicago. Substitute Pittsburgh, one of the good Rust Belt cities.
A thick mustache, forearms like fire hydrants.
Yes.
This guy, he's not tall, but he's like, you couldn't move him if you got a running start.
Oh yeah,
I have a clear picture in my mind. He's like a beefier Dennis Farina.
Yeah,
a lower to the ground, huskier, more wristed Dennis Farina.
Yeah, this was in the 70s and 80s. You know, they were all volleys too. Volunteer fire departments, they were about it.
Oh yeah,
the opportunity, they're ready to go.
They definitely have the look too. They already had that locked. You know, I read a funny thing about the Ruettigers too. I read that they had a quote that when they were making the movie, they said something about like, oh yeah, we were on set. They let us come on to set a couple days, and we were just taking anything that wasn't nailed down, which I love so much. It's now such a
human moment in a Hollywood situation where it's just like,
I'm cashing in on this shit.
I'm taking all of the things.
I am filling my pockets with these tiny sandwiches.
Back a truck up.
And that's like, it changed the way now if a movie is ever made about anyone I know and I get to go on set. Now I have a plan.
Yes.
You know, before I would have just been wandering and not really knowing what I wanted out of the day.
What a neat, we're on a film set. No, I have a backpack full of sandwiches, lunch meats.
Oh, man.
Extra sack for fruits so they don't get wet.
You know, there's just a ton of pastries.
Oh, yeah. Mm.
They weren't, dicks. Like they were portrayed a little bit as dicks in the movie scene.
Yeah.
And they didn't, they were really kind of supportive of his dream. That's really the only main discrepancy, that they were younger and they kind of all supported. Like, I don't know if they thought it was likely, but they were like, why,
why not?
And actually, like, some of his brothers were so young that, like, when he had his moment later on, like, they were so young, they weren't even watching the game. Like, they were off playing somewhere, and then they heard later. One of his brothers heard that he had been carried off the field and thought he had been injured.
Dead.
He was like, oh, my God, he got killed, clearly. But, yeah, they were generally supportive of him, but he went to the Navy after high school.
Yep.
That was another really big discrepancy. He joined the Navy in 1969.
Nice.
So he would have exactly. He would have been 21 already at this time.
Yes.
Which is kind of weird. I don't understand. So like he was an old senior.
Well, that's kind of the thing of him being like, you do just mature as a man in those early 20s.
Yeah.
Where like, so he did 2 years in the Navy, 2 years at the power plant, not a steel mill, which tomato, potato, as they say.
Yeah, you're really splitting hairs with that one. We'll get into it.
I think steel mill just seems cooler. Like I think they picked it from like a movie standpoint of like having the molten ore and slinging sledgehammers around rather than like just clicking buttons at a power plant.
And did you read what happened to his friend?
No.
In real life, his friend really died. His
Yeah.
friend was not named Paul. His name was Siskel, and he worked with his friend Siskel at this power plant. There was like a clog in the coal delivery system, the big conveyor belt with the coal on it. It got stuck, and Siskel went running to fix it. And while he was fixing it, the thing shot back on and sucked him in. Oh. Then he was carried through 10 coal crushers. Those things, 10 of them. Holy shit. And
how fast was he going through these things? We don't have an off switch somewhere. This was this was the 70s.
That's so many coal crushers
to
be passed through. And then this is where
this is now why we have everyone's very heavy on lockout tagout procedures when fixing equipment.
That's right.
This is your OSHA safety moment of the day.
That's right. I knew about that too.
Yeah.
Before he said it. Lockout and tag out. That's what I'm always saying. That's what I'm always saying when it comes to safety. But so he is carried through 10 coal crushers, and then Rudy apparently, and this is just a real testament to Rudy's indomitable spirit.
Yeah.
He still did mouth to mouth on the guy, which I gotta say, even if it's my dear friend, I gotta say after the 7th or 8th coal crusher, I'm like, I don't think I'm going to be able to help at all.
2 coal crushers. I'll work you. 3 coal crushers?
Maybe.
10? You're gone.
You're asking a lot of me here. Yeah. But so this weirdly enough, though, this is like they do capture like the spirit of this moment in the movie, because in the movie the guy dies in a steel mill explosion, and Rudy leaves the job, and it was kind of the same way except a lot more grisly. He was covered in his friend's blood, and he said, I will never forget that taste and that smell. They were taking him away, and I was standing there covered in his blood with that taste still in my mouth. Then I heard a voice as clear as you talking to me right now. You call it whatever you want, my gut, conscience, God. All it said was leave. So I walked right out that damn door, packed my stuff, and I headed to South Bend. He told ESPN.
That is, I understand why he wanted to sell this as a movie so badly.
Yeah, fair.
You can tell there was like a 15, 20-year gap before it was made.
Yes.
And you can tell the entire because he made it. He like had the script going and wanted to do the movie pretty early on.
Yeah.
Where like in the moment he was kind of like, this is pretty sick.
Yeah, it seems like he like on the way bringing the quarterback down was like, this is gonna make a great fucking movie. Like that's how ahead of the like he knew like he was on it. He was like, this is my ticket.
This is my ticket out of here, baby.
Here's the funny thing. Okay, so I read at first that he first like made his name in what they call Bengal bouts, and he snuck into the Bengal bouts as a student at Holy Cross. The Bengal bouts are like a charity boxing tournament that were started with the help of the coach Newt Rockne, who I read that it's Canute Rockne. How fucking crazy is that?
Can't be.
Yeah, I read that he preferred Canute.
Like, and that great-grandson or grandson was on my high school football team.
Damn.
And I forget his name now.
Oh, brutal.
I forget. He was like a couple years older than me and wasn't great.
I can tell you it wasn't Canute. You wouldn't forget that.
You wouldn't forget Canute.
You wouldn't forget Canute.
Canoodling with Canute.
Canoodling with Canute. That's what his wife called it, for sure.
That's what his OnlyFans is called.
Yeah. It's pretty good OnlyFans.
It's mostly foot stuff, but
for a dead football coach, it's pretty hot. You know, you think the specter of an old Catholic football coach wouldn't be the sexiest thing you've ever seen, and I'm not saying it's the sexiest thing I've ever seen, but it's
not bad.
It's not bad. Yeah, it's worth your $3.99 a month. All right, let me tell.
Just sign up for a month. Do your dirty business. Get out of there. All right, Reddit exists. You'll be fine.
Crank it to Canute.
Canute's the ghost of Canute. He's canoodling feet.
He's out there working hard for you every day.
He's working hard for you. You make sure to tip your waitstaff, everybody. All right.
He's dancing to the latest hits.
Yeah.
He knows about Chapel Roan.
So he was just a tough son of a bitch in these boxing matches.
Yeah, so he comes in and he's fighting in these boxing. That's where he first, because he's doing really well, and to hear him tell it, he's like, and I would always pick the biggest guy. But you have to remember, of course, he joined the Navy when he was 21, did 2 years in the Navy, and then 2 years at a power plant.
Yeah.
He's like 25 years old at this point. Man. Whipping the shit out of like fresh-faced, normal college-aged kids. And so the Bengal bouts is actually where the Rudy chant is first heard. And I read that it was also like kind of ironic in tone, that they were like, this is hilarious. This grown man is just beating the dog shit out of all of our classmates. And so they were Rudy, like cheering him on, which I love.
Yeah, this grizzled old Navy vet just shows up to the college party.
He has an anchor tattooed on his forearm.
Just whips the shit out of everybody.
And he keeps a darkness inside now because he just watched his friend go through 10 coal crushers.
Yeah.
None of these kids have watched their friends go through a single coal crusher.
He calls this one coal crushers 1 through 5. This coal crusher 6 through 10.
He's widely feared.
Yeah, rest in peace,
coal
Siskel.
crushing. Yeah, rest in peace, Siskel. Sorry, we're having so much fun.
But so then it kind of gets into accurate stuff in the film. Like he works as a janitor groundskeeper.
Yeah,
he gets his grades up at Holy Cross and then gets into Notre Dame, gets on the scout team.
Yeah, 1974. He gets into Notre Dame. He actually moves in. This is another part that's almost... He didn't live under the football stadium like in the movie. He lived in the basketball arena. They had Notre Dame for like insurance purposes or something. Needed 2 kids to move into a dorm to have someone permanently in the stadium, like they're dodging taxes.
No, that was they did that with the LSU. We talked about that on a previous podcast.
That's right.
Where to get like federal grant money, they wouldn't give it to you for a stadium. They'd give it to you for student housing.
Oh, it's the same deal.
So they made very stadium-shaped student housing.
They built 2 small dorms in the basketball arena, and Rudy and another kid moved in there, and then Rudy would like work kind of odd jobs around the stadium, including he would be the towel guy at basketball games who towels up the sweat when guys fall to the floor. And actually in this capacity, he got on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
Like a background cleaning?
He's actually...
See if I can find that.
It's Bill Walton after UCLA and Bill Walton had won their 61st game in a row. They had beaten Notre Dame, who was really good in that year. And there was a picture of Bill Walton from that game on the cover of Sports Illustrated, and Rudy was there, but Rudy was on a part of the cover where almost every copy had the address sticker over it, very much like the movie Monsters, Inc. It's a whole bit in Monsters, Inc. Billy Crystal's character, he's like in a training video at the beginning, and then they put the logo right over his face, and then I think they make a magazine cover in the end, and the thing right over his face. Because he's not the best monster. His friend Sully is the best monster. Everybody knows it. I think I'm getting that right. I've only seen it once.
I saw it once years ago.
And if I'm not good, God help me, I'm going to get corrected so hard.
Those English professors are going to come back.
He doesn't know dick about Monsters, Inc. either.
But then...
they say, oh, those guys.
So some of the funny stuff that was different from the movie is then... he wasn't like revered by his teammates as a hard worker. He was a guy that did work hard, and they were like, yeah, Rudy's a good dude. Like, whatever.
Yeah, he's fine.
And then they didn't give the jerseys. They did the line that formed to everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Like put their jersey in. It was like, take my jersey unless Rudy plays.
Yeah. And actually the coach, Dan Devine, who took over for Rudy's senior year, 1975, he was furious about that scene. I read he was, because he had spoken to the filmmakers and they had been like, look, we have to have like a villain. So we're going to paint you kind of like you were against Rudy
holding this man down.
And basically Dan Devine, he sounds like a sweetheart of a man.
Yeah.
He's like, he said that he agreed to be the heavy in the film, but he said he didn't realize that he would be like the worst person in the whole movie. And he said specifically the jersey scene was infuriating to him, especially because he was like, I would have cut all those kids. He's like, you fucking come into my office and demand thing? Like, he was like, first of all,
cut every single one of you.
But so he was like, and I totally get his anger too, because it was like, according to some reports, it was his idea to, and he was on the sidelines asking, like, has everybody got in at the end of the game? Because it was senior day.
It was senior night. It was their last home game of the season. And they kind of set it up to where they were playing Georgia Tech, and it was a one-sided game. And so they purposefully got like every senior that normally didn't play into the game.
Which also,
and a guy named Pat Sarb was the spot that Rudy took. And he was already, I didn't know if it was for like an injury or something, but he was already not suiting up, and he was like a guy on the regular roster. So there's already that space available. And there's some things like, did Pat like ask, hey, have Rudy have my spot? Like, I'm not dressing. So it's like there was a spot available. It was senior night. The coach was a good dude and was going to let him have a couple plays.
Yeah. And so he got in for 3 plays, 27 seconds of game time. There was a kickoff, an incomplete pass, and then the famous sack. And there is, I can't recommend it enough. We got a link to it. There is a hilarious video on the Notre Dame official YouTube. Did you see this? Of the guys being like, one of them
was like, so I was like, I took these 2 guys. I'm going to do a spin-off. All right. Now you're going to get a free shot, Rudy.
And he was like, this guy comes out, he's jumping up and down like a wild man. He doesn't know where to go. I'm like, you stand here. I'll take these guys out.
And then this is like big time college football, even in 1975. Like they had plays.
Yes.
And it sounded like they backyard footballed some shit where they're like, hey, I'm going to do this. You get the run. Just go make a play. All right, big guy.
Well, anyway, next thing I know, this guy comes running out. You know, Rudy, and he's jumping up and down, acting like a wild man, going, where should I go? Where should I go? I said, well, here, Rudy, play defensive end in the end. And what I'll do, I'll grab the guard and tackle, and I'll push him this way, and I'll spin. And if the quarterback comes our way, hit him.
Yeah, and then the other guy in the video, and he's like, yeah, you know, it's so funny. You know, I ran for like 170 yards and 2 touchdowns that game, but everybody just wants to talk about Rudy. But I'm really happy for him.
I wrote down that guy's name. We'll link to the video, and we'll have some clips mixed in of
it's comedy gold.
The starting fullback was freshman Jerome Hevans, so he was a freshman on the team. He talking about it, he was like, "Oh man, I don't really remember. I was something like 152 yards." Like Jerome,
I think you remember this pretty well.
I think you remember exactly as he describes 2 of the plays in vivid detail. He goes, "I was the star of the game. Like this guy made 1 play, and they make a movie about him."
Yeah.
So Jerome Hevans just wants a movie about him.
Man, I think about it. I was the star of the game, and this guy makes 1 play and. The rest is history, but I'm happy for you, Rudy.
The other guy had a line like that, too. Yeah. He was like, so I take out the 2 guys, and I see Rudy get the sack, and they make a movie about him. I couldn't believe I was watching this and double checking that this was the official Notre Dame YouTube because it's so dripping and bitterness, which I kind of understand, you know. If you're one of the better players on that team and you're just an old man in a theater in 1993 being like, that guy sucked.
It's like, well, I mean, no one's talking about that we just kicked the shit out of Georgia Tech. We did that.
He was a scrub.
Yeah.
We didn't even have that word back then.
I had a few moments from that video where they're talking about the giving up the jerseys scene, where one of the guys was just like, there had a culture there of like, you got your varsity jersey.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like a big deal to like be the guy that dresses out. And he was just like, I'm not giving my fucking jersey to for anybody.
Like, I wouldn't give it.
He's like, I worked my ass off for that. I'm not fucking giving you a spot. Like, what are you kidding me? We're like, okay, there we go. It makes sense.
I always like to tease. The one thing that's not true is I worked so hard to get my jersey. That scene where all the players were giving their jerseys back to Coach Devine and say, here, let Rudy wear my jersey. That wasn't going to happen. I worked too hard to get that varsity jersey and trot out in that field.
Yeah, I loved those guys. I loved their, they were, I see where they're coming from.
And one of the funniest things was him getting carried off afterward.
Yes.
Which it was like, was it a joke? Were they fucking with him? I think it kind of spiraled because of how excited Rudy was, and he got up, and then he kind of like, the dudes were just like in a moment, because that big guy that helped him make the play was saying, he was like, do we think it was a big deal? Not really.
Yeah.
He was like, I don't know, we kind of got caught up in a moment, and it seemed fun, you know?
Yeah.
A couple of the boys picked him up and walked him off the field. Did we think it was a big deal at the time? Not really.
So it wasn't like the team didn't rally behind him as the savior, but
yeah, they weren't that, like, they were happy for him, but, you know.
And yeah, Joe Montana has brought this up on multiple occasions where he was like, there was no chanting, there was no jerseys, it was senior night, the guy got in, and he was like, I'm not going to say it was a joke, but like, him getting carried off, you know, it just kind of happened.
Yeah, I think he said that the guys who carried him off were like the three biggest pranksters on the team. Which Joe Montana's so funny to be like, I have everything. I had the most fulfilling career.
Yes.
And I gotta say, that guy, he sucked. I know he was inspiring to you all, but in real life, he really
I know we
sucked.
all had a good time, and I would like to rain on your parade for a moment.
And he, again, the more you get into Rudy, the more you kind of like, you're kind of like, yeah, all right, I'm with the people who aren't the biggest fans. He seems like I said, like one part the most admirable man and one part just annoying as shit. Like fucking grating.
He bounced around a ton after school, where he came up with the idea for the movie like very early on.
Yeah.
And that was clearly like an ambition of his that he didn't make happen until the early 90s.
Yes, his first job was at a car lot where he got fired because his boss was like, he was too focused on trying to get a movie made about his life. Which is,
it's like,
I mean,
embrace the car lot, Rudy. All right.
That's a really funny reason to get fired from a job, though. Like, well, I'm working on turning my life into a film, so.
Well, your sales numbers are down.
I'm not going to be able to sell cars to everyone while moving and shaking in Hollywood.
But then he bounces around doing like, not odd jobs. Like, he's a salesman. He's doing stuff. He's, figuring it out. But nothing like of note. Until he gets this movie made, and then he does like motivational speaking, gets some cash, and started he started a company called Rudy Beverage Inc.
Oh yeah,
which
I know where this is going.
Was a competitor for Gatorade, which is a strange merchandising decision for Rudy, because the tagline was "Dream big, never quit," and it was like a nutritional sports beverage. And but he got arrested by the SEC in 2011 for a pump and dump scheme.
Yep, securities fraud.
Bang. Because they faked all like the data from experiments that it worked to trick investors to be like, yeah, this stuff's way better than Gatorade, and they were just making it all up. Got a bunch of money from investors, and then just went away.
Yeah, that you can't. Do you know the staff at Gatorade? You'd be like, this is better. Like, that's gonna raise some red flags.
Yeah.
Like, oh, Rudy. And I reading about this again, super funny quote from Rudy on it. He said, "I fell into the same obvious trap the rest of the country had fallen into in all those boom years. I shouldn't have been chasing the money." I love the like blaming your crimes on the time period you committed your crimes thing. Like, he's like, it was 2011.
It was 2011.
It was all anyone did in 2011 was quote Charlie Sheen and commit securities fraud.
We were all doing it. Well, I got caught. When you go fishing, you catch all the fish. No, we were all doing it. I got caught up with some boys.
I'm the one guy who got caught up making up a fake energy drink.
So white collar criminal. But then in a twist of fate, he was Catholic growing up. Huge family. And at the age of...
It's a pretty big part of the movie. They really play it up.
Yeah. At age 68, he was baptized as a Mormon.
Mm-hmm. Changed religion several times, actually.
Yeah, which I understand finding Jesus, but you typically don't find a weirder version of Jesus, you know?
Yeah. You don't go it's kind of weird to go older to newer. You know, you'd feel like you were on more solid ground, I feel, with Catholicism.
It's like Catholicism has some goofy stuff going on, so let's go be Mormon.
Yeah, and he's like, he had a quote in the article I read that was like, "I've got all my bases covered when St. Peter comes." And I was like, you don't understand religion. You are damned almost. So you're cutting your chances.
Some would say this is securities fraud of heaven.
Yeah. God's going to be so mad when you...
Yeah. God's going to make you pay another $382,000 fine.
That's right.
But and then to end on a good note...
Going to be picking up trash on the side of the highway in heaven, bud.
Yeah. Littering problem, weirdly enough. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Don't get me wrong, but you know...
The thing is, it's heaven, so there's unlimited otter pops, and then people just throw the wrappers on the ground.
Yeah, terrible.
So there's just the wrappers. It's like knee high on otter pop wrappers at this point.
But he was a pastor. He had a foundation that did like scholarships and stuff that he ran since 1997.
That's
so
right.
like all of Rudy's story, he's not an evil guy.
No.
There's just some funny inconsistencies with the movie. And he's an interesting character that was a little crazy at times. Yeah.
And he legitimately, his story is, you know, there's legitimate inspiration to be taken from it. He's just, he seems like a bit much to deal with. On a
Rudy was a lot.
Yeah. He said, by the way, just to give you another glimpse at the real Rudy, not the most flattering facts, but he saw this movie at least 26 times. And after the 24th, he told Newsday that he still cries every time.
That's a little narcissistic.
That's pretty insane.
Yeah, let's put you in a padded room for a minute, sir. We got to talk about some stuff.
That's pretty insane. And meanwhile, Dan Devine is just in a room just stewing. He's so mad.
I do love, what an old coach move of just like, I would have cut every one of those guys. Yeah. You don't walk into my office telling me what to fucking do. I'm the head coach.
For that little fuck? That's what he was.
But so that's the story of the real Rudy Ruettiger. Still uplifting. Still uplifting.
Interesting fact, the Georgia Tech quarterback Rudy sacked, his name was Rudy Allen. He went on to invent the double beer helmet. I'm just kidding. He didn't. Well, that would be cool if he did, right?
That would be real cool.
Also, I have another fun fact about the movie, about the production of the movie. Okay, credited as a football supervisor on the movie was Al Cowlings, O.J. Simpson's good friend, who was driving the white Bronco during the famous chase in 1994. O.J.'s pal, Al Cowlings.
Nice.
Rudy said of him, he's a guy you can trust. He's a dedicated, loyal type of guy. He's a true teammate. Which I think
really is all how I'd also describe a mobster.
And I think all those points were proven in the next year. I think
he'll stick by your side through thick and thin.
Yeah.
Even if you murder a lady and her boyfriend.
He will drive you around in his Bronco.
God bless him.
Not to be confused, of course, with the Bronco that had all the blood in it. That was OJ's Bronco.
Yeah.
I don't want to go getting Broncos mixed up. at the end of our pod.
I have some personal news to unveil on the pod. We just had our baby, Owen Scott Nelson. But so we're recording this on a Friday. This will come out Monday.
Thursday.
Oh, it's Thursday. Yeah. Days don't matter. I'm on paid baby leave, baby.
Oh, hell yeah.
The fire department does parental leave now, or paternity leave.
Hell yeah.
Which it was so. My mom is a very old school country lady, and you could tell it like she didn't get it. Because it just came around in the past couple years. So when my brother had his son, he's on the fire department too. Like he didn't get it, but he had like called in sick a few shifts and helped out. And we work every third day. You still help out plenty. And but you could tell my mom was just like, "What? 6 weeks?" She's like, "What are you gonna do?" She's just like, "Just go to work." Which is the closest my mom's ever been like, are you gay now? What are you talking about? Parental leave?
She just slides that in a note across the table.
Just blink twice if this paternity leave thing is you making a statement.
I was watching a true crime doc last night where it was a brother and a sister, and the brother was like, "Did you do this?" And she's like, "I can't say here." And he's like, "Nod your head if you did this." And she's like, I was like, you don't think they're watching?
You're very much on camera. Yeah. That's like all the prison calls are recorded. Yeah. That's gotten a few people.
And they come in and they're like, "Yeah, we just heard everything." And they're like, "What? Wait, what?"
I actually
did. Not trust these guys.
We were going to keep the name a secret from the family until he came. And I ruined it with my wife's family. Because we're at dinner for her brother's birthday, and they're 20 and 24, like they're grown guys, and we were sitting there like wrestling around, like sack tapping each other, just being mature people in a restaurant, Mm-hmm. And I go up to Taylor and I like pop her belly a little bit, and I go, I want Owen to be in on the game. Oh, no. And her mom was there, and she was just like, "Oh."
And I was like,
"Owen?"
I said nothing.
I was like, so I ruined the baby name reveal for her family via a sack tapping related incident.
So it happens. Honestly,
live by the sword, die by the sword, I say.
Who among us hasn't accidentally given the name of their baby to their in-laws while doing a sack tap match?
Oh, and then I will put up a picture of him, and then another picture maybe of him. I have a theory that all white babies at some point in time look exactly like Wallace Shawn.
I can see it.
Because he looks exactly like him. I'm just waiting for him. His first word is going to be inconceivable.
That would be inconceivable. It's inconceivable. 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 Inconceivable.
That was a good Wallace Shawn.
Yeah, inconceivable. You fell victim to one of the classic blunders.
Damn, that's really good. I didn't know you had that in your pocket.
That's my baby. So
that is, hell yeah. And we all love Wallace Shawn. Who doesn't love Wallace Shawn? He's the best.
And then last baby thing, I had a joke. I wrote like a little stupid thing of like one of the few times you're allowed to be racist is when your baby's coming out and you're like, I just want to be happy, healthy, and not black. Boy, the last thing I want is a black baby.
like in the movie Life. Did you ever see the movie Life?
I've seen it's where Eddie Murphy's in prison.
And then they hold the baby up to all the guys. And Bernie Mac goes, "Ada pappy."
I don't remember it.
Well, it's a fantastic movie.
I feel like I've seen it. I didn't commit to that's
But it's connected because the guy faints. He's an old prison warden, and he's always fanning himself with his hat, one of those guys, and he goes, "Oh, let me see that grand boy." And then he comes in and he faints.
All right, well.
Because it's Can't Get Rights, baby.
This is going to be a clip, probably, so we'll
Can't
have it in
right.
there.
Yeah.
Anything going on with you?
No, I just regular stand-up and all that. I don't have a lot going on. We're in TV's getting good again.
What do you want? What do you want? What are you watching, Big Go?
No, I was like, is it? But I'm just, I was thinking of this one show, Chimp Crazy on
Chimp Crazy.
HBO.
Okay.
Okay, you got to watch Chimp Crazy. Only one episode has aired so far, but it's about this lady who owns one of those should be illegal like chimp places.
Yeah.
And her chimps, like they had been in movies and stuff. And it's about like the first episode at the end, like she's getting her chimps confiscated by the government because they're like in horrible conditions, and so it's a lot like the Tiger King. Like a lot of people that worked there started.
I love after watching the Tiger King,
them,
like the other owners in that story, like you see them pop up on other TV shows and things, and they're like the tiger expert on some TV show, and you're like, wait, it's the guy that has the weird sex cult.
I saw the guy the guy from the Fire Festival documentary who was going to offer to give the guy head to get their permit or whatever. Yeah. You remember that guy?
Yeah.
He was kind of the people's champ of that series. Everyone loved him. He was on like an MTV reality competition show. I saw he's crossed over.
What a strange career field when they started like the MTV Real World Road Rules Challenge. But it turned into like the same 12 people are on one of those shows every year for like a 20-year span.
Yeah.
And they're all like middle-aged guys with families and shit at the end. And
you're like, man.
Like you couldn't.
This is a grim life.
Yeah.
Weirdly.
They seem like they're doing fine, but.
You're doing a lot of zip lines for your life to seem so grim.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
You're always bussing around to places and squabbling with 20-year-olds.
Setting alliances, and we got to play the game right, all right?
Yeah, this is important.
Yes. What is it, Mike the Riz? Life. What do they call him?
Oh, the Miz.
The Miz.
That
the Riz.
guy really crossed over.
He crossed over. He got out.
Yeah.
CJ didn't get out. Mm-hmm. He's doing something. Like, they're all just dudes.
Probably fighting somebody. Wasn't he the one who fought a lot?
He fought a lot, yeah.
Shout out CJ. You know, that's what more reality stars need. They need to be quick to fight.
Yes.
Our shows would be so much better.
So much better. Love Island with more fistfights.
Yeah. When
Scott's the host of Love Island, there will be more fighting.
I'm going to there's going to be a lot of me dropping a pistol accidentally on the floor and kicking it across while they're fighting.
Can't believe you called your mother a whore. That was weird when he said that. He showed me video of him actually banging her. That's wild. Yeah. Here's a pistol.
He's making a fool of you. He's making a fool of your entire family.
You have been bestowed upon homes of the cuckold.
And then I just drop a knife. I'm like, oh, where did this come from? My point is, it's going to be hard to watch My Love Island, but I think it'll be, the stakes will be higher. The stakes will be higher. Oh, speaking of, Chimp Crazy. So in the first episode, the best part, I would wager, is they rent their chimps out to like birthday parties and stuff, you know? And there is a chimp at a birthday party and he grabs a kid's foot. Not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
He grabs a kid's foot.
Not supposed to do that.
They're all, whoa, let go, you know? And it does, and it's fine. And then you're hearing this voice, the voice of his handler on the news, and he's going, well, we don't think Connor meant any harm by it, you know? He was just, and then they cut to the guy, and he has the most obviously recently torn apart by Chimp's face I have ever seen in my life. It's a baseball. It's like
they're just goofing. The boys are goofing.
And this is the guy they couldn't have found one guy with an intact face for that job. Yeah. They just sent Edward Scissorhands out.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's fine, guy. And then they explain, sure enough, those were Chimp wounds. Chimp, he had been like cleaning one of their cages and it had bitten his nose off. Yeah. And we were like, we know. We could tell.
we have eyes.
Could tell from before.
Your nose is gone.
But I lost my mind when that guy showed up. I was like, no, this is the guy. I mean, I'm not saying you can never be a chimp handler at kids' parties again after that, but I'm saying you at least have to wear a luchador mask. You know what I mean?
Have the Phantom of the Opera mask.
Be like, this is just my second job.
Yeah.
It's not that I got a match after this. I'm fighting El Cruz Azul Jr.,
this just pays the bills. My real passion's luchadoring.
Yeah. I can't take it off, not because of chimp wounds, but because of the luchador code.
Yeah. It's fantasy football season. Are you in any leagues this year? Are you in that comedy league?
Oh, yeah.
Has that been defunct for a while now?
No, it hasn't. We played last year. I don't think I've heard from them this year.
Yeah.
I don't know if it dissolved, if I got kicked out. I've been kicked out of a league or two in my day.
I'm in
for not
3
paying
this
attention.
year, all on different apps. What a pain in the ass.
That is a pain in the ass.
But so I'm in an old high school buddy league that's been going for like 12 years now, maybe longer, where it's like a $200 buy-in, big pot.
Yeah. Yeah, those are fun.
Yeah, so it's been fun. And then I'm in a fire league with like people from my rookie class and stuff and buddies on the fire department. And that one we're doing to set the draft order. We're running 40-yard dashes tomorrow morning.
Damn.
So let's see. I really, in my like heart of hearts,
Stretch tonight.
I'm gonna stretch. I don't think I'm gonna blow a hammy. Like I work out and run and stay in shape.
That's what I would worry about.
Not to the best of my ability, but I do stuff. This won't be like the first time my body's moved in like 2 years.
Yeah, I work out some, but I don't know if I could full sprint and feel confident I would not fuck up my hamstring.
There's going to be a couple pulled hammies. But like my goal, sub 6, I can obviously pull off. And I was like a 4.8, 4.9 guy at like the only time I ever ran 40s. So it's going to be slower than that, obviously. But like if I get below a 5.5, I think I'd be pleasantly surprised with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think you can do it.
I think I can do it.
I believe in you.
Yeah.
You got to.
I remember we had a summer conditioning program in high school where like everyone worked out over the summer. And the point of it at the end, we timed our 40s at the beginning and the end. And I think it was a mental exercise by the coaching staff to have everyone be all, man, look at all the progress we made. Let's go into this season and kick ass like a team. Like hard work pays off.
Yeah.
So they slow timed us at the first one and fast timed us at the last one. And so I think I ran like a 4.58. My buddy Joel had a 4.24. And he was fast, but like not top NFL speed fast as a 17-year-old white kid. Like, no. And so I remember I ran like that, so in my head I was like, I'm a 4.6 guy. And then you go to like a college recruiting camp and like do the laser time stuff. And you're like, no, it's a 4.9. Like, ease up on the 4.6 talk, kid. But yeah.
Disappointing.
So if my knee is devastated in 2 weeks, you know why.
Yeah. But if you're in a cast, I expect to see you come back in a cast.
Thank you.
I'm not confident.
My wife needs help with the baby, so now I'm going to hurt myself.
No.
Has to be as large of an inconvenience as possible.
No, I retract my negative energy, actually. I believe in you.
Thank you.
If you've been running, you're fine.
I wonder
the
if
only reason I would think because I haven't run in a long time specifically.
Yeah. I wonder if there's going to be any
fucked.
gamesmanship of a guy that like is a big fatty and just wait for someone to get hurt and be like, all right, I just got to beat like that time. Or you snake draft it and you just walk it and be like, I'll pick 9 and 10. That's fine.
Yeah, that's not the worst idea.
It's not the worst idea I've ever heard. I'm going to be out there competing my heart out and get 4th.
The worst.
Just be in the worst spot. But
yeah.
I'm excited. We'll see if we can post some video on that for the next podcast. So, but yeah.
Speed lightning over here.
And
Grease lightning. What was I going for?
Grease lightning, we'll call it.
I was going for something.
You got any closing thoughts? Rudy? TV.
All right, here's an idea I had. I was watching the show, The First 48. How about this? I love that show, of course. I don't think it's the healthiest thing to watch, but it because just watching murder constantly, I feel it might be. But anyway, it's very entertaining. My only thing is, in the First 48, that's just like a statistic. If they don't get a lead within the first 48 hours, it like significantly cuts their chances of solving the crime, right?
Yeah.
But then the first 48 always, a lot of times at least, it passes and then nothing happens, They just continue on with the investigation. And that's great. I'm not saying they should just give up after
we're
48 hours. But there should be some stakes. I say if they haven't solved the case within the first 48 hours, the detectives then have to wear funny hats for the rest of the investigation.
Just little brightly pastel colored Fallout Boy golfer caps.
Yeah, or like those beanies with the propellers on them, or like Viking helmets.
Yes,
they could have fun with it.
I always thought that of like they make Netflix documentaries about these true crime things when detectives actually have to do detective stuff because it's very hard for them. Yeah. Where 99% of the time, it's the big angry guy that was there.
Yes.
He's the one that did it.
Mm-hmm.
Or that's why they get like tunnel vision. It's because they go, no, it's always the big angry guy that said he wanted to kill her. He killed her. You're like, wow.
Yeah.
Crack the case again, Paul. Way to go. So
you are damn good, sir.
That was the guy that previously announced he wanted to kill her and was angry. He did it.
Like, wow.
Wow.
This
Bravo.
Columbo over here.
And with that, we bid you adieu.
We bid you good day.
So 2 more weeks, we'll have another episode out. Until then,
that's right.
Clippy Clip Farm Welding. We'll try to nail the clips for you this time, okay? Yeah. We're going to do it. We're going to get you a good cum joke in there somewhere. I think we might have to fabricate it. I don't think we made a cum joke this time.
I find that hard to believe.
Statistically speaking, there's one in there.